Chapter 1. One day, I asked my trusted friend, veteran, and next-door neighbor if he can fix my flat tire on my scooter. He agreed to fix my flat tire, only to return it 3 days later with the tire fixed, but I realized my kickstand was missing. He was a generous jack-of-all-trades, but for me, master at none. To me, he was a trained, seasoned magician with years of experience at the Circus Circus Hotel, doing shows like Potted Potter, Jabberwocky's Hip Hop, Paranormal Mind Reading, and especially the Shin Lim BattleBots, Destructathon, Chris Angel Mindfreak performance he performed on my 2 computers. Chapter 2. In the meantime, while I'm going to several places and stores, after I'm done shopping, I come out and notice my scooter has fallen to the ground, because I don't have a kickstand. For the past week, every store I go to when I come out from shopping, I've already gotten 3 parking tickets for violating the city ordinance that every scooter must have a kickstand. I also got 2 tickets from the parking meter maid officer who represents the city for my scooter being out of compliance and not having a kickstand. One time I came out of the store and noticed someone on my scooter, but he fell to the ground after managing only about 5 feet because the kickstand was missing. In the meantime, back at my apartments, we were texting each other back and forth. Even his wife surprisingly admitted that she and her husband had wronged me and apologized. Later that night, to my surprise, I discovered she was only apologizing about her and her husband taking 10 Sweet and Low packets from my kitchen instead of the required 2. Chapter 3. So, after getting nowhere, I felt I had no other choice and called the police. To my surprise, they showed up almost immediately. An officer got out looking skeptical and asked, "So, tell me what happened." I tried to sound reasonable, explaining that my veteran neighbor agreed to fix my flat tire, but he'd removed my kickstand and was now refusing to return it. I told the officer the neighbor had become hostile, threatening to throw my kickstand in the trash. He boasted that no one, not property management, not the VA, not even the police, would do a thing to help me. To top it all off, he had the audacity to call me crazy. The officer's expression didn't change. It was clear they thought this was a ridiculous waste of their time. They refused to give me a report or a case number, but after a sigh, they begrudgingly agreed to go downstairs and at least ask him to give my kickstand back. It took all of 5 minutes. After their chat with the neighbor, the police came back upstairs and knocked. The moment I opened the door, the first question wasn't about the kickstand.
Are you mentally ill? What kind of mental disorders have you been diagnosed with?
I was completely floored. Chapter 4. This is where my neighbor's genius plans kicked in. He eagerly showed the police my text messages. Without context, my frantic texts about a missing kickstand probably did make me sound unhinged. The police scrolled through them, smirks forming. They immediately assumed I was mentally ill because the messages taken alone made no sense and were apparently quite funny. In that instant, I realized what happened. My neighbor had masterfully convinced the police he hadn't stolen anything and that I was just an unstable person harassing him. The police, now on his side, refused to help and left, convinced I was crazy. I have to give the guy credit for his twisted, creative thinking. He turned himself into the victim and me into a mental basket case in seconds. Chapter 5. Now what happened to me just yesterday is my scooter was towed for not paying for my parking tickets, and now they want $250 plus proof of insurance and proof of registration to get my scooter out. After I complained to the City Hall officials that I'm only riding an electric scooter that's not required to have insurance and registration nor a kickstand. They called the police, and the police asked me why I'm being so disruptive and uncooperative with the City Hall staff. They immediately interrupted me, saying they have to read my rights first, stating,
"Sir, you have the right to remain silent. Though judging by your life choices, silence clearly isn't your strong suit. Anything you say can and will be held against you, probably in a TikTok compilation called Dumbest Criminals of 2025. You have the right to an attorney. Not just any attorney, oh no. The state has carefully selected for you the dumbest, most sleep-deprived, mentally unstable lawyer in the galaxy, possibly a hallucinating lawyer this side of a late-night infomercial. He once tried to cite Judge Judy as legal precedent. This attorney once tried to object to his own objection. He thinks habeas corpus is a Mexican food truck. He bills by the hour in Monopoly money. If you can't afford this attorney, don't worry. His office is located in the back of a Chuck E. Cheese, right next to the skee-ball machine. Now, do you understand these rights? And the fact that you've landed yourself in the enormous, dill-flavored pickle jar with a pickle so big, Vlasic just called asking if they can jar it and sell it at Costco?
I said, "What the hell? Oh, hell no! Call your supervisor now."
Now you just picked up a new case for disorderly conduct.
No, W, they issued me another ticket for disorderly conduct. I complained again and they screamed, "Now you are going to jail." I resisted and fought for my rights. I asked what charges. They then said, disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, assault on police officer for kicking my newts, spitting, biting my ear, pissing I-9 side a patrol car, making insult about my wife, how ugly I am, and my stick being 2 inches long. Officer, thank you for reading me my rights. I'd like to exercise my right to remain silent by screaming profanities at the top of my lungs. And by the way, if that's your serious cop face, I can see why your wife left you. She took one look at that mug and said, "Yeah, nah, I'll risk Tinder." You say I'm in a pickle? Buddy, you're in a whole damn jar. And the label says, extra stupid, refrigerated for freshness. Now let's talk about these charges. Disorderly conduct? Please. I prefer to call it expressive modern dance. Resisting arrest? More like cardio. And thank you for finally giving me a reason to stretch my hamstrings. And when I kicked you in the family jewels? That wasn't assault. That was a public service. You're welcome for ending the possibility of you reproducing another mini-cop with your signature 2-inch nightstick. Judging from your scream, you'll be walking like a cowboy who lost a bar fight for the next 6 months. Then there was the ear bite. Sorry, I thought you whispered Mike Tyson rules only. My bad. Spitting? That was hydration. You look parched. Peeing in the back of your patrol car? Honestly, you should be paying me for detailing that thing. It smelled like glazed donuts and shame in there anyway. Speaking of which, how's your Krispy Kreme membership card holding up? 2 dozen per shift, huh? Donut Holes Anonymous called. They're worried about you. And as for the window I karate kicked out, that's called ventilation. You're welcome. This is California, not a sauna. Later that week I was supposed to go to court, but I missed court because I was in the hospital and now they have a warrant for my arrest once obtained with a $50,000 bail bond issued. So now, on top of everything else, I must somehow come up with $5,000 just to get out of jail. Plus, I still must pay $250 for the 5 parking tickets that started this whole mess. Chapter 6. So, when I get home, I finally realized that not just my kickstand was missing, but now also the handlebars were gone. A truly baffling escalation. I did what any reasonable, slightly panicked person would do. I marched straight into the police station to file a report, feeling a bit ridiculous. I walked up to the front desk, took a deep breath, and explained as calmly as I could that my scooter's kickstand had been stolen, and now, mysteriously, my handlebars had vanished too. It sounded even more absurd saying it out loud. The officer behind the desk blinked twice, a long, slow blink of disbelief, tapped something into his computer.
Sir, is this a motor vehicle or a child's toy?
I tried to keep a straight face, though I could feel a laugh bubbling up, while explaining for the 10th time that it's an electric scooter, a legitimate form of adult transport. And yes, adults ride them. Many of us, in fact.
You know, we usually don't track down missing kickstands, but let me ask around.
A few minutes later, another officer came out holding a bicycle horn and asked if this was the missing part. I shook my head. They all started brainstorming. One officer suggested checking the local playground.
Another wondered if squirrels could be responsible.
They handed me a lost property form and told me to describe the kickstand in as much detail as possible, in case it turns up. I wrote, shiny, metallic, about yay big, last seen holding up my dignity. And the right size, not too long, the perfect object you can stick up your ass.
Next time, try a U-lock.
I couldn't decide if they were joking or dead seriously. Either way, I never thought losing a kickstand would turn into the comedy event of the year at the local police station. Chapter 7. Before jail, my public defender, who represents me, requested to pick up my scooter to take pictures as evidence. And when I finally got out of jail, I looked at my scooter and noticed the handlebars were gone. Now I'm missing my kickstand and my handlebars. What I found out was they were looking for somebody to replace the kickstand for me. and after they did research online, I found out they came across the person that originally stole my kickstand. But now, my public defender can't get the police to ask this person to return my property. Why? Because the Foothills Police Station refuses to investigate, issue a case number, or arrest any veteran living at our apartments. The very system meant to protect us was failing completely. So, instead of risking going to jail again for complaining, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I just went online to Amazon. Forget the old $300 scooter. I'm just going to buy a much faster, more powerful, and better-looking scooter that costs $900. This is the end of this story. All of this over a kickstand and Sweet and Low packets taken from my kitchen. And just when you thought the story was over, let's take a look at the Foothills Police Department's official report, because apparently even paperwork can be a comedy show. Pages flipping, typewriter clicking. According to the report, the case of the missing kickstand and handlebars was classified as low priority, right after lost socks suspected unicorn sighting. The officer in charge wrote, and I quote, "Complainant alleges theft of scooter parts. Suspect, possibly everyone in the building. Evidence none except for a suspiciously sticky Sweet and Low packet." Their investigation log reads like a sitcom script. 10:01 a.m. Officer arrives on scene. Notices lack of kickstand, also lack of coffee. 10:05 a.m. Interviews local veteran. Veteran claims, "I thought it was a modern art project." 10:15 a.m. Officer tries to Google how to solve scooter theft but gets distracted by cat videos. 10:30 a.m. Case closed. Recommendation: buy a new scooter, maybe a bike lock. Comedic rim shot. So, while the system may not have delivered justice, at least it gave us a laugh. And a police report that would make even the most seasoned detective shake their head. Maybe next time I'll just report my scooter to the Lost and Found or the Comedy Club. Out of curiosity, a police report was filed. And here is their official professional findings. Incident report. Case number 404, dumb reporting officer, Sergeant Carl Donut Henderson. Date time. Immediately after suspect kicked me square in the McNuggets location, the corner of bad decisions and poor life choices. Summary of incident. At approximately 2200 hours, I attempted to place the suspect under arrest after reading him his Miranda rights. The suspect responded with insults so creative that I briefly considered switching careers to become a stand-up comic heckler. Sequence of events: disorderly conduct. Suspect began yelling that my wife left me because I was too ugly for Tinder and couldn't even score with the blow-up doll from Spencer's Gifts. This caused a small crowd to gather and laugh at me. Disorderly? Absolutely. Humiliating? Even more so. Resisting arrest. Physical altercation. As I attempted to handcuff the suspect, he suddenly delivered a flying karate kick directly to my groin. Medical staff later confirmed my reproductive organs are now purely decorative. Suspect shouted, "That's community service, buddy," while I was incapacitated on the pavement, squealing like a bagpipe being strangled. Assault, spitting, biting. While regaining control, suspect spit directly into my eyes, blinding me temporarily. He then leaned in and bit my ear like Mike Tyson in a buffet line. Suspect stated, "Now you're officially my chew toy." Vandalism, property damage. Once placed in the back of the patrol car, suspect unzipped and relieved himself across the seat, announcing, "This is called leather conditioning, officer." He then karate kicked the rear window out, screaming, "Free Uber, baby." Verbal abuse. Suspect repeatedly insulted me, including but not limited to, accusing me of eating 2 dozen Krispy Kreme donuts per shift, which is inaccurate, it's usually 3 dozen. Stating my shtick was 2 inches long. For the record, Internal Affairs has no jurisdiction over my measurements. Calling me Sergeant Twinkie Trousers in front of my partner. Charges added: disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, assault on a peace officer, criminal ear. Buffet public urination in a government vehicle, vandalism. 1 patrol car, RIP window, verbal battery with intent to roast, closing statement. Suspect was transported to jail, still yelling, "Write this in your report. I'm criminally hilarious and you're criminally allergic to salad." End of report.